These next couple stories are about Elon Musk and about Elon Musk creating the Total Information Awareness Program. And for those who don't know about that, we're going to do a quick history lesson in just a couple of moments about total information awareness. Because for those who, like my nephew, were born after 9/11 or just weren't paying attention until recently, you might not remember that there were previous efforts to establish surveillance states, police states around the United States. And there was post 9/11, and it was something known as total information awareness. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. So this is an article from The Atlantic that I actually think did a pretty good job. It's always important to challenge yourself and read things that you think you're not going to agree with. Some of you might be like, oh, Derrick, The Atlantic, that's some progressive left-wing liberal magazine. I'm not going to read that. I hate them. They just, all they do is talk crap about Trump, and I love Trump. Well, I encourage you to think for yourself, to question everything and to challenge yourself. In fact, this was part of the homework of the Exit and Build Challenge that we've been doing. Last Friday, I encouraged everybody to read one piece of information or watch a podcast or a documentary or read an article that you believed was going to express an opinion that you would probably disagree with, and still go in and do it, and not do it with like, oh, just being angry and this person's so stupid they believe something different than me, but go in with an open mind and consider the opinion that's being presented to you. So if you have trouble with some of my sources, or they're not the perfect source according to you, all that matters is if they're facts. And even if they express them in a way you don't like, that's fine. That's part of being a mature adult. But this one is actually on point. Trump is Elon Musk's Trojan horse. The Tesla and ex-mogul has long dreamed of redesigning the world in his own authoritarian image. Electing Trump would make that a reality. And they got this sort of smashed together picture of Trump and Musk together. And of course, if you guys have been following my work, you know I do not support Trump. I do not support Musk. I also don't support Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or any of these people, because they're all playing for the same team. That's the Zionists and the Bilderberg group. And I'm not going to play those kind of games, because there are more effective ways for us to change the world around us, rather than just believing that voting is going to fix everything. If you want to vote in this sham of an election, it's a selection, not an election, then you do so. But don't pretend like it's the most important thing ever, because that's what they said 4 years ago, and 4 years ago before that, and 4 years ago before that. And that's part of the propaganda, to make you think that this is the most important thing that matters. And both sides get to try to scare you and say, if Donald Trump doesn't win, we're going to go full on communism and the world's going to end. And then the other side says, if Kamala wins, just back and forth. And that's what Elon Musk is doing. He's been campaigning for Trump and saying, I really do see this in apocalyptic terms. It's either Trump or, we're going to go into darkness and this and that. It's garbage. Don't buy into this. They're trying to scare you into action to continue playing the game, because they only have power over you if you keep playing the game and you keep believing in their fake matrix that's all around us. But I want to zero in on this one part of this article. It says, Musk's public affection for Trump begins almost certainly with his savvy understanding of economic interests. Now, what I really want to focus on is his companies. Now, this isn't just some left-wing liberal magazine attacking Elon Musk because he's a billionaire. These are facts. Like so many other billionaire exponents of libertarianism, we'll talk about that in a second, he has turned the government into a spectacular profit center. His company SpaceX relies on contracts with three-letter agencies and the Pentagon. It has subsumed some of NASA's core functions. Tesla thrives on government tax credits for electric vehicles and subsidies for its network of charging stations. Let's say that again. Tesla thrives on government tax credits for electric vehicles and subsidies for its network of charging stations. By Politico's tabulation, both of these companies, SpaceX and Tesla, have won $15 billion in federal contracts, but that's just his business plan in beta form. According to the Wall Street Journal, SpaceX is designing a slew of new products with national security customers in mind. So the main focus there, for those who understand libertarianism, conservatism, just generally this idea that we shouldn't be just surviving off of government wealth, and especially those of you who believe that we should be trying to shrink the government, as I do, if not work towards eliminating it altogether, then the idea that somebody like Elon Musk is out here to really save the day is just ridiculous. And those of you who buy into that, you're not really paying attention to what he's actually doing. You're not paying attention to how he's funded, where his money comes from. He is he's dependent on what we call corporate welfare, and is dependent on on government contracts and government subsidies. And also, for those of you who understand the kind of climate change narrative, the push towards electric vehicles, which are fine if they're voluntary, but they shouldn't be government subsidized. That is part of what Elon Musk is involved in with the Teslas and with the tax credits. So James Corbett put out another great article about Peter Thiel just a couple of days ago. We'll go over that in just a moment. But he was really hammering down this point that no matter which angle you look at it, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, they're not libertarians. And no, Zuckerberg's not a libertarian either. Libertarian is somebody who understands the principles of self-ownership, of non-aggression, and of that all relationships should be voluntary and consensual. And from there, you believe in private property, springing out of your self-ownership and being able to mix your labor with the earth and create things. It has nothing to do with being on government welfare and subsidizing your business through statism, through corporate state business. That is the exact opposite of it. So Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the other Zuckerbergs and all these technocrats, they are not libertarian in any way. I just want to hammer that point. I know some of you might not care because if you're not libertarian, maybe you don't care, but it's annoying to see these kind of things. I don't think it's done on accident either. They absolutely want people to not understand what libertarianism is, to think that it's you love corporations and you just want billionaires to be able to run the planet. That's not libertarianism at all. And that's not what it would turn into. It's just that these people are just more opportunists. They're controlled opportunists, and they don't really care about the people at all. So now I want to zero in on another section here. Let me see if I can find it. Starshield. Here we go. With his government contracts and his insider influence, Musk will become further ensconced in the national security state. This is if Trump wins. He already has a $1.8 billion classified contract, likely with the National Reconnaissance Office, and through a division of SpaceX called Starshield, he supplies communications networks for the military. At a moment when the government is confronting crucial decisions about the future of AI and the commercialization of space, Elon Musk's ideals will likely hold sway under Trump. So let's take that for a moment. A $1.8 billion classified contract between Elon Musk's companies and likely the National Reconnaissance Office, which is responsible for like spy satellites and a whole lot more that we probably have no idea. And then SpaceX Starshield is supplying communications networks for the military. So Elon Musk's companies are not only benefiting from corporate welfare, benefiting from government subsidies and all these kinds of things, but ultimately his entire business model is dependent on these contracts. And he's not just selling them cupcakes and making billions of dollars. He is using his Starlink and other technology, selling them the spy network, the complete control surrounding the planet with spy satellites and constant 24-hour surveillance. I mean, obviously, we're already pretty far along that path, but this is going to become a reality because of Elon Musk and his work, his technology. Now, here's another article from Bloomberg from September 27th, where I found this. Elon Musk wins U.S. Space Force contract for Starshield. This is where they first talk about it. Elon Musk has received his first contract from U.S. Space Force to provide customized satellite communications for the military under the new Starshield program. Space Exploration Technologies Corps is competing with 15 companies for $900 million in working orders through 2028 under Space Force's new Proliferated Low Earth Orbit Contracts program, which is tapping into communication of service of satellites orbiting 100 miles to 1,000 miles above Earth. The Starshield service will be provided over SpaceX's existing constellation of Starlink communications satellites. So working directly with the government, a military industry, if you know who Lockheed Martin is and Raytheon and all these different companies that profit off war, Elon Musk's companies are right there with them. So you got Space Force. And here's another one from the Wall Street Journal, February 2024. Elon Musk's SpaceX forges tighter links with U.S. spy and military agencies. The company has grown from a for-hire rocket launcher into a major national security contractor. SpaceX is deepening its ties, winning at least one major classified contract and expanding a secretive company satellite program called Starshield. His company has entered into a $1.8 billion classified contract with the U.S. government in 2021, according to company documents viewed by the Wall Street Journal. SpaceX said in the documents that funds from the contract were expected to become an important part of the revenue mix in the coming years. It didn't disclose the name of the government customer. So it goes on and so think about that. They've got secret contracts with the government for nearly $2 billion over with we don't know what, but most likely related to satellite programs. We got Starshield with their supplying the communications network for the military using Starlink. This guy is helping them build the surveillance state, the police state, the technocracy, the technocratic state that I've been warning about since at least 2019. Now, here's another aspect of this real quick. At Tesla, Musk assigned himself the title of Techno King. That moniker, which sits on the line between jokiness and monomania, captures the danger. So I want to zero in on that for a moment, because of course, since this article is, they're not quote unquote conspiracy theorists, so they don't know their research. He calls himself Techno King, and when you click on that, it goes to his page on the Tesla company website. Let's just open that real quick so you don't have to take my word for it. And in his bio, this is an archived version from Tesla corporate governance. Elon Musk is the Techno King of Tesla. That's his words. I'm sure he's the one who said, hey, I want to put it there. It'll be funny. It'll be silly. Techno King there. Well, let's go over to theconsciousresistance.com/how-to, which is where you can download or listen to my 2022 second edition of my book, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. We're going to go ahead and just open up the PDF real quick here. And we're going to search Technate. All right. Well, actually, let me search King. That's what I want to find. No. Let me search Technocrat King. That might be actually what I'm looking for. What I'm trying to show you guys here is that Elon Musk is literally using the language of the original technocrats, where they said they were going to rule over here we go, Technate. This is what the original technocrats talked about from 1938, Technocracy Incorporated. It said, only by abandoning the interfering price control and substituting a scientific method of production and distribution can abundance be achieved. Technocracy will distribute by means of a certificate of distribution available to every citizen from birth to death. The Technate will encompass the entire American continent from Panama to the North Pole because the natural resources. It goes on. And so they believe that that technocracy would be ruled by this sort of governing body called the Technate, and that would be run by the Technocrat King. I mean, that is in their own words. That is not Derrick Broze. And so they called it the Technocrat King. And in what is over on Elon Musk's Tesla page, he calls himself the Techno King. Okay, maybe he doesn't know anything about that. Well, that would be potential if you didn't know who his grandfather, Joshua Hadelman, was and his connection to the technocracy movement as well. Now, I mentioned we were going to talk about total information awareness real quick as we're talking about Elon Musk and we're talking about the Peter Thiels. Total information awareness was a program that was launched in the post 9/11 world in 2003, which was focused on basically monitoring all life. The concept of predictive policing, which we've heard about from the movie Minority Report. TIA, total information awareness, was meant to correlate detailed information about people in order to anticipate and prevent terrorist incidents before execution. Admiral John Poindexter called it the Manhattan Project for Counterterrorism. And according to Senator Ron Wyden, it was the biggest surveillance program in the history of the U.S. Congress defunded the Information Awareness Office in late 2003 after media reports criticized government for establishing total information awareness over all citizens. And it became a big deal. But this was, it was talking about doing some of these same things, using satellites, predictive policing, early versions of facial recognition technology. So much of what we see now, which has unfortunately become reality, even though they ended the program, a lot of these things have continued. But my point is, what Elon Musk is talking about with his satellites and maybe potentially with this billion-dollar contract is a version of total information awareness, where they can see and hear and do everything you're doing using satellites. Now I'm going to show you real quick. James Corbett, as I mentioned, wrote this free editorial called The Strange Story of Peter Thiel. It's a part 1, so you can find it at thecorbettreport.com or go to his Substack. And there's just one point I want to make about this. For one, James also emphasizes that Peter Thiel is not a libertarian, despite him calling himself libertarian and the media loving calling him a libertarian. They go out of his way to try to call him libertarian, even though it's pretty obvious he's not. So here's James talking about this. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, both who are steering committee members of the Bilderberg Group, they landed a meeting with John Poindexter, Admiral John Poindexter, who I just mentioned, and they were helping him with the Information Awareness Program. And look at this. This is the original logo for the Information Awareness Office. Literally an all-seeing eye pyramid looking over the entire planet. That is not a joke. That was literally what they made their logo when this thing came up. And of course, you can see it was under DARPA, Information Awareness Office, Total Information Awareness. People beat that back. They pushed back against it. Of course, as James points out right here, and as you can find other articles, I've touched on this, the MIT Technology Review, Total Information Awareness Project lives on. This is from 2006, and them saying technology behind the Pentagon's controversial data mining project has been acquired by the NSA and is probably in use. So this was 7-8 years before Snowden came around, and they're already saying, yeah, the program's supposed to be dead, but it's still living on. So it's not like Elon Musk is the first one to try to keep total information awareness alive, and much of it already is happening. But my point is, he is definitely a part of the problem with that. And then also, I would point to the work of Jason Burmis. And if you've seen my previous interviews with him, we've talked about the NASA Blackjack program, which is, let me see if I can just pull that up. It's also a satellite program. And as we can see, that Starlink and SpaceX are starting to replace NASA in many different ways. And I think, as Jason has pointed out, that it's like Elon Musk is taking that role. And look, this is the perfect artist concept image here of what they see. This is a picture, for those who are watching, of literally satellites just surrounding the planet and like a grid. Doesn't that look like a prison? And that is part of a NASA program. It's a part of a NASA plan they've discussed. But it seems like Elon Musk's Starlink and all of his various ventures, SpaceX, Tesla, which are completely dependent on government subsidies and government money and your tax dollars, that they are helping us. They are not helping us, but they're helping the government and the predator class construct the technocratic state, a grid, a full-time surveillance grid around the planet where all human life will be tracked and traced, and it will be very difficult to exist outside of that. Of course, existing outside of that is the key. That is why I've been doing the exit and build challenge for the last 5 weeks. We're going to talk more about that soon. I hope you guys will stick around if you want to hear the solutions. But it's important to really poke holes in these false narratives that are being paraded around, as so many people are embracing Elon and dark MAGA now, and just wanting to believe that, quote unquote, we, the freedom movement, the health movement, the truth movement, the conspiracy movement, whatever you want to say, are winning with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my God, we're finally going to do it. It's all bullshit, my friends. It is all a lie. That doesn't mean that there aren't some good people in those areas thinking that they're doing good, but those people who I just mentioned are definitely playing a role. I think there's not a doubt in my mind. And if they're not playing a role, then they really are megalomaniacs who believe their own garbage, and still that makes them a danger to humanity, maybe even more of a danger, because they actually believe that they are here to do good. And that means they're going to make sure that nobody, whoever stands in their way, will succeed, and that they will be able to march forward. Now, that doesn't mean that Kamala is any better or anything like that. But you still have to understand that if you're stuck in that, oh, Derrick, this, you pro Kamala, this and that, somebody commented the other day, you're still stuck in that trap that they want you, that false binary that myself and the Independent Media Alliance have been exploring, that David Icke and I recently explored in an interview that hopefully you watched. That's the false binary, and there's so many of them. These are what I call the layers of deception. You know, you start waking up and you know there's corruption, but you're still kind of trapped in going back and forth between, well, it must be this person or it must be that person. Oh, and now here comes a new hero to tell me that everything's okay again. I can put my faith back into the system. But what really scared the crap out of these people more than anything, at least in my view, is people who are saying, you know what, we're not going to buy these games anymore. During COVID, people who were looking for alternative solutions and who are looking for better ways out of this crazy insanity we're dealing with, they weren't looking for, government answers. But then, of course, all of a sudden it's election time, and so many people who believed that government wasn't the answer, and they could see that. They could see during COVID, governments are not to be trusted. And they were looking for alternative solutions. They were looking for exit and build. They were looking for the Freedom Cell network. A lot of those people all of a sudden turned back around and they started believing, oh, it's election time. Of course, it's time to go vote again. Yeah, governments are corrupt. Yeah, the Israelis control things. Yeah, we've had presidential assassinations, real assassinations, not fake assassinations. We've had all kinds of things. And we know the government's lying. We know they're doing total information awareness, but I'm going to go vote. And somehow that's going to fix things. Guys, there are much better ways for us to organize our lives. There's much better ways for us to live. There's much healthier and effective ways for us to try to actually attain freedom. I want to invite you guys to learn more about that. But for now, let's take a quick break, and hopefully we've got some new information in your mind, because it's time for more and more people to recognize that Elon Musk's not a hero. Donald Trump's not a hero. I wish it was that easy, guys. I wish it was just a matter of us trusting some billionaires and they were going to come in and save the day like Tony Stark, and everything was going to be good. I'm sorry. I don't think I think that's kind of like a childish way of looking at things. I don't think that's really going to happen. But if you have bought that, you've been watching too much Marvel, and the programming is working pretty good. I mean, I like Marvel. I like watching a good Marvel movie, but the programming, it's just that. It's just programming, my friends. It's not real. It's not real. I hate to say it, burst your bubble, but that's not real. And the reality is that we got to take care of our own lives. So we'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. So I've recently partnered with my friend Sean Hawkins of the company Cultivated Mind. He focuses on organic mushroom extracts, which are designed to help you physically, mentally, and maybe even more than that. I've just been testing them out recently. You may have seen my interview with Sean discussing this. We went over some of the specific benefits of the various types of mushrooms that Sean uses. I think it's a really exciting product to be a part of, because not only are they organic, they're non-GMO, but if you know anything about mushrooms, as more and more of us have been learning about the benefits of mushrooms, not just psychedelic mushrooms, but all types of mushrooms, then you understand that they are a great boon to your health. So Sean recently hooked me up, and I've been trying the Brain Squared, which is for gut pea flower extract, ashwagandha. I also recently picked up the Radiant Energy, which is for pre and post workout. So I go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and now starting to take these before and after. These feature cordyceps, reishi, and chaga. And finally, he's got Immune Renew, which is obviously for immunity. This one features chaga, turkey tail, reishi, maitake, shiitake, and extract of nattokinase. I encourage you to go visit the website. It is cultivated-mind.com. And of course, we have a special deal and a discount for those of you who want to purchase them through my link at cultivated-mind.com/cm/broze, BROZE. You can check out the link on the screen right now, or wherever you're watching, check out the link below the video. Yeah, if you want to find out more about those mushrooms, go to theconsciousresistance.com. Check out our ad at the top. Before we go to our final story, which is about Dr. Scott Atlas speaking at Stanford University, I just want to make it clear, guys, in case other people aren't getting it. I got this comment, and I want to say thank you for the comment. I always appreciate the comments. Thanks, Derrick. As always, yeah, we still have to vote for him, but maybe one day we will not have to choose between one shit sandwich or another. No. You don't have to vote for him. That's my whole point. You don't have to vote for him. My whole point is you don't have to vote for Donald Trump. You don't have to vote for Kamala Harris. That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying you can actually choose to be a free person. You can choose to take control of your life by practicing the exit and build strategy, rather than sitting around and waiting for presidents or anybody else to come save you, because guess what? They're not going to save you. You could choose to get off big tech. You could choose to start growing your own food. You could choose to learn about permaculture. I mean, this is literally what we've been doing. I guess this is a perfect time to go into it since it's getting brought up. This is literally why we've been doing the 45-day exit and build challenge. I started the exit and build challenge literally to be timed so that it will end the Friday before the US election on November 5th. So the idea is that every week we talk about a new area of our life. We started with food. Then we talked about money. We talked about technology. We talked about land. This past week, we talked about knowledge and education. This coming week, we're going to talk about mindset. And the final week, we'll be taking a holistic approach and talking about how to apply all these ideas. And the idea is that as I share about the exit and build strategy, which is essentially take your money, time, energy, and support away from systems that don't align with your values and which will lead to slavery, not liberty, not privacy in the long term. And they will definitely not be strategies that help my younger nephew who was tuned in earlier, selling out the future generations, just doing the same stupid thing over and over and banging your head against the wall by voting. And oops, somehow the politicians are going to fix things this time. They're not going to sell me out. That's not a real answer, my friend. That's just doing the same insane thing over and over. The solutions is to stop playing their game altogether, to take our power away from it. This is what I call exit and build. And so the exit and build challenge, you can find it at theconsciousresistance.com. We are doing it every Friday at 11 a.m. U.S. Central. And let me pull that up real quick. Last week, as I mentioned, was education and knowledge. And basically every week I discuss, okay, what is the problem in this area that we're trying to get away from? When it comes to education and knowledge, There's there's propaganda, there's bad sources of information, there's actual disinformation. What are the solution? Better information, alternative education online, homeschooling, unschooling, world schooling. And then I give you some homework. Like I mentioned earlier, consume a piece of content that you know you're going to disagree with. Visit EDX, learn more about the Trivium. This is just about education and knowledge. You can go back and look at the other ones about food, where I said go out and take a permaculture course, or visit a farmer's market and learn and connect to the farmers and people growing the food or tending to the animals near you. Go volunteer at a community garden. Actually putting the time and energy in, because I know that so many people want to believe all you have to do is vote and then that's going to fix everything. But real freedom takes effort. Real freedom takes time, and it's not going to be handed to you by a freaking known psychotic liar. And you can guess who I'm talking about. Oh, guess what? I'm talking about both sides. Known psychotic liars and criminals who associate with other criminals, they're not going to come save the day. As I literally just went through, and I've gone through dozens of reports over the last couple of years exposing Elon Musk for who he really is, exposing Peter Thiel who he is. We have an entire section of our website called The Trump Deception. And no, it's not because we have Trump derangement syndrome. It's because we stick to the facts, and we know that Trump is not here to save people. And so you don't have to vote for him. You don't have to play the game. There's a million other ways you can spend your time. And yes, if you choose, you can still say, fine, Derrick, but I'm going to go press the button and get my little I voted sticker. Go ahead and do it if you think it's worth it, but at least put your time and energy into the exit and build strategy, and also at least contend with the fact that trying to use government to force your way on other people is a form of violence. And what do I mean by that? It means that whether or not you think you're doing it for the good of humanity, if you're going to go say, I want to vote to force the other couple hundred Americans who are going to think different than me to go along with my way, then you're just as bad as the other side. Government is an uncivilized way to organize human affairs. And I know some of you still aren't ready to wrestle with that. You still can't contend with that. That doesn't mean we need to know exactly what comes next. It means we need to end the modern day slavery. We need to end statism. And the way we do that, at least from my view, is by action and by leading by example. So we break away from their systems. We spend our time and energy building new models and new systems, not continuing to do the same damn things over and over that we know are not going to lead to real liberty and privacy. All right. So I'm going to play you a quick clip now from a good inspiration of mine, John Trudell, Native American activist who passed away in 2015. Since this topic got brought up, before we get to our final story and then we play some music to wrap things up, I want you to listen to this 4-minute clip from Native American activist John Trudell, Thanksgiving Day speech in 1980, and listen to what he's saying about voting back then. I encourage you guys to really tune into this. This is one of my biggest inspirations.
We're faced with a very serious situation in this generation. There are insane people who wish to rule the world. They wish to continue to rule the world on violence and repression. And we are all the victims of that violence and repression. We, as the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, have been resisting this violence and this oppression for 500 years. We know that the black people have been resisting it for at least that long. And we know that the white people have had to endure it thousands of years. And now it's come full swing to this generation that we live in. Nuclearization of the world. You see, this cannot be, we cannot allow this to continue to go on. We cannot do it. You see, we cannot expect that the pro-nuclear oppressor, that other side, we cannot expect that they're going to change for us. They are going to become more brutal. They are going to become more repressive. We are power, but they have separated us from our spiritual connection to the earth. So people feel powerless. We look at the oppressor and we look at the enemy because they have the most guns and the most lies and the most money. People start to feel powerless. We are power. We are a natural part of the creation. We were put here on the sacred Mother Earth to serve a purpose. Somehow we are betraying our purpose here, and that is why we live in the confusion that we live in. They tell us, they want us to believe that we are powerless. We are a natural part of the earth. We are an extension of that natural energy which is spirit and which is power. Power. A blizzard is power. An earthquake is power. A tornado is power. These are all things of power that no oppressor, no machine age can put these things of power in a prison. No machine age can make these things of power submit to the machine age. That is natural power. And just as it takes millions and billions of elements to make a blizzard to happen, or to make the earthquake, to make the earth to move, then it's going to take millions and billions of us. We are power. We have that power. We have the potential for that power. I remember in the 60s and the 70s, and I heard all this thing about power to the people, and I never really understood, because everyone was saying power to the people, and they were talking about demonstrator, they were talking about vote, they were talking about dealing on the terms of the oppressor. Our power will come back to us. Our sense of balance will come back to us when we go back to the natural way of protecting and honoring the earth. If we have forgotten how to do it, and if we think that it looks overwhelming and we can never accomplish it, then all we have to do, and each of us as an individual can go out and we can find some spot on the earth that we could relate to. Feel that energy. Feel that power. That's where our safety will come. The earth will take care of us. We have to understand that the American corporate state will not take care of us. They do not care about us. Maximize their profit. That is where their whole life value is placed upon. Maximize the profit. They will turn us against each other to maximize the profit, because they have done it in the past. That is war. And they are waging it against us. They bribe Congress. They bribe your elected officials. They terrorize and intimidate your elected officials by getting the FBI to blackmail them. Those are acts of war. We will have to come to a time in our lifetime, and it will come in our lifetime, when we are going to have to deal with the fact that the enemy has taken over your government. The government is not your ally. The government will use you, chew you up, and spit you out. You think that we are wrong? You think that we are talking unrealistically? Then go look at your elders and see what has happened to your elders in your machine-age society. See what kind of respect that they get. See what kind of a voice they are allowed into your society, what kind of input they have.
All right, so that was John Trudell, huge hero of mine. I encourage you guys to check him out. Hopefully you got the message there in that. I just want to remind you guys again, go to theconsciousresistance.com, check out the Exit and Build 45-day Exit and Build Challenge. It continues this Friday at 11 a.m. And even if you haven't been caught up, the goal is to take this as often and whenever you can. But the point is to illustrate that there are other ways for us to quote unquote vote with our actions in our daily activities and our relationships and the way we live our lives. I know that many of you are busy, you're full-time working people, and I totally empathize and get with that. But I'm sorry, freedom's not going to be handed to us. You actually have to get free from these slavery systems that they're building around us, thanks to people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and people like Donald Trump, they're being used to help create this. Also, I want to invite you guys to check out some of our non-voting essays and videos, including this one from 2016, Voting is a Ritual Meant to Divide. And in this other essay I wrote in 2015, Non-Voting as a Strategy, Not Apathy. Actually, that one is a video there. So I've been talking about this for a decade now. And again, non-voting, not as apathy and saying give up, but as a strategy, not participating in those systems. And that doesn't mean you do nothing. It means voting other ways through this exit and build strategy that I'm talking about. So I hope you guys will check that out.
Since 2012, the Conscious Resistance Network has been an independent media organization focused on empowering individuals through education, philosophy, health, and community organizing. We work to create a world where corporate and state power do not rule over the lives of free human beings. Our motto is leading by example and helping others in their pursuit of freedom. Visit theconsciousresistance.com to find our articles, documentaries, interviews, podcasts, books, and more. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free.